Aside from the paganism of it, your God will tell you not to decorate trees with silver and gold. And this is coming
in your own Bible. It says that.
Old Testament.
But wait a minute. I bring up the Old Testament a lot, and different Bible thumpers or preachers will be like, "We don't go by the Old Testament." I'm like, why? If it was written, why don't you go by? Who says you don't go by it now? Did God say, "Hey, wait a minute, man, I messed up in the Old Testament"?
You know what's funny? They don't go by the Old Testament, but didn't Jesus do away with tithing? Why the fuck are we still passing around the collection plate?
So you can have pretty new buildings so the preacher can drive a Benz. You gotta give you 10%, right?
Which concepts are we going to follow? And where are the artifacts out of the Bible? You know? Oh, they're being all held in the Vatican by white people? I mean, and then the white people are praying to a black Madonna. We're praying to a white Jesus.
Damn.
Okay? When are we going to change the image in our own black church? We ain't got enough money for that? Man. I ain't put enough money in the collection plate for us to put up an image of a black Jesus in here at least.
I asked, how can you pray to Jesus? You have this book. This book vividly describes Jesus as a black man. His skin color bronze. That's a penny. Ain't no white people that damn brown. Hair wool.
That 4C.
That's like, damn, why this man got silky blonde hair?
Because you live in America. You live in America, KKK. It's white supremacy over here. You got the European adversary over here running every motherfucking thing.
But you're in the black church with a white dude. And in your book,
the European adversary owns every motherfucking thing. You're in a black church.
All that.
We got a black president. So what does that mean?
Yeah.
You know, but people won't look at those type of things. And then they're so afraid to even begin to research outside that Bible because they think that if they do, they're going to be damned to hell. Because when you start talking about these type of things and it sparks something in the back, they get nervous. They get shook. Because they're like, hold up now. This shit I've been reading ain't really been making no sense. Like you say, can't really understand this shit. This stuff they're over here saying is starting to make a lot of sense, but it's in contradiction to what I've been reading. But it says in here, if I ask or if I question God, I'm going to be damned to hell. That's powerful sedation of the mind.
Right.
That's powerful sedation of the mind.
Right.
And that's where we're at right now. These same rituals, utterances, just belief system where we come from, where we look into astrology and astronomy and music and, speaking utterances and things that used to be so powerful, what we use back in Africa in order to help us achieve all the things that we needed to achieve in life, they have demonized in mainstream media through propaganda, and so black people are so afraid of those things. Meanwhile, the white people are doing it and you're calling it Illuminati. It's funny. I think it's funny as hell. I think it's funny as hell.
Wow.
I really do. I think it's funny, but people don't. I don't know why people are so uninterested. Like, they're so uninterested about it, but they complain and they're upset, and day in and day out, they're living in the struggle. Day in and day out, they have no insight where they're going to actually be relieved of all these monetary oppressions that they have of owning homes and driving cars and keeping their refrigerator full and keeping the cable going and the lights on. All of this stress that they're incurred, they can't even alleviate them things from it because they're waiting on a Messiah to rescue them.
All right.
When are we going to take control of our own realities? And I'm going against the majority when I say this, so I don't get a lot of support, but black people have got to wake up. It's time for us to wake up. We are the first generation really out of slavery. We're stuck in the new Jim Crow, which is one of the books we're reading. We're stuck in mass incarceration and colorblindness, but we're really we're the first generation that's out of segregation, where our grandparents were involved in segregation. So our parents like like the residual of what happened when whites and blacks couldn't sit together. So
Right.
we're the first generation, and we have these phones, which makes everything accessible to us. You could look up anything on the internet in the entire world, and it's right there at your fingertips. And then we're trying to push our youth to go into the church. Meanwhile, you're telling them all these different things that they're supposed to do to get saved. Half of them are homosexual, but then in your own Bible, it's damning them to hell. You want them to come there and be encouraged? Don't you think they get picked on enough?
It's a lot of gay people in the church. What are they supposed to say about that?
They have to be saved.
They
have to be saved, or else they'll be damned to hell. It's supposed to be equality for all, justice for all. But according to them, only for the heterosexual ones, only for the straight ones. That's an issue.
So the homosexuals in the church, that's just insane.
I don't think it's
But by their
own standards.
Right.
By their own standards, it should be insane. By their own standards, I don't even know why a homosexual would want to be there.
Want to be in church, right?
Yeah. But that's by their standards. For me, I don't think it's insane. Everybody wants to be saved.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the concept of being saved, everybody wants to be alleviated of stress, fear, sins, problems, mental, illnesses, whatever. People want to be free of those things. So everybody wants to be saved. And then when you're sold on the idea that because you're homosexual that something is wrong with you,
mm-hmm.
then that affects a lot of people's self-esteem, and that plays a lot into just the success of that person in their life. So by their own standards, it seems insane. I think it's odd that they would want to be there, but to each his own.
Homosexuality, period. What is your take on it? Like homosexual marriage, what is your take on it?
That's their business.
That's their business?
That's their business.
Okay. You're not opposed to it, or you're not go homosexual marriage?
For me, whatever you decide to do with your life so as it doesn't physically or mentally, emotionally harm others, that's your choice. I'm an activist. I will not stand by and allow people to mistreat a homosexual because of their own personal decisions. That's their personal decisions. You cannot mistreat or treat someone less than because of their sexual preference. Otherwise, you'll be doing the same exact thing that white people did to black people. You'll be doing the same exact thing. They used the Bible to injustify slaving blacks because they thought that we were so barbaric and that we couldn't do shit for ourselves, that we had to be enslaved. It was in our best interest. Now you got black people, a group that's been oppressed for hundreds of years, have the audacity to turn around and say that, gay people shouldn't be allowed to get married. That's none of your fucking concern. If one sin isn't greater than the next, then how dare you sit there and tell a lie to your child that morning, but then try to sit there and condemn a homosexual? Mm-hmm. You're not God. Didn't he say don't cast the first stone? Mm-hmm. Unless you be without sin, however that shit goes. But the point is, these people are not living by their own word, and then they have the audacity, a group of oppressed people, to turn around and try to oppress another group of people. Mm-hmm. Like they don't know how it feels to be misrepresented, right, misunderstood, right, to be picked on and be thought of as less than. Now, my personal feelings about it, I don't give a fuck. Mm-hmm. That's their business. They shouldn't be picked on or mistreated or thought as less than, though, because that's how they choose to live their life. Right. That's them.
If a Bible thumper comes to you and tells you that Jesus walked on water.
Oh, you're saying they say Jesus walked on water. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to ask them, who is Jesus?
Jesus is the God's son. Jesus is God's son. He was born in the manger from Virgin Mary.
Okay, then I'm going to ask
on December 26th, on December 25th.
First of all, the timeline is on so far as the Bible, people who have tried to get the timeline of the Bible correct would say that Jesus was actually born in the springtime. And then over there in December, it's not even cold right now. So then you're kind of like, so then if it wasn't cold, then why are the stories about, it being frigid outside and them having to go find a manger? And, it's just interesting stories, concepts behind this so-called Jesus. But
Jesus ain't real. That's you telling me?
I think that maybe there was a person whom was named Jesus or Yahweh or El Shaddai, whatever you want to call him. That there was this man who walked the earth, and I'm sure he was a great revolutionary, a great speaker of the people. I'm sure he had a great love for the people and would sacrifice himself in order to save them all. Now, where it started getting a little loopy and a little crazy is you have all these different civilizations that are up and coming at a specific time, and when you have different stories like this, great stories that are coming out of what was once known as the general center of all education, of all life, which is Africa, North Africa to be specific. When you have all these stories coming out of all these different places, you get different interpretations. And greed is a big problem amongst people in general. So I think, a mixture of all of these things formulated into what is known now as one of the most world-dominating religions, Christianity. Where I have a special place in my heart for the black community. I want to see us rise up. We have to rise up and take back what belongs to us, what we were robbed of, what we were stolen from. It's important for us to get back to our motherland because that's the only way we are really going to ascend where we need to be.
Getting back to the motherland is a concept that Dr. Umar Johnson he talks about.
Devil's advocate again.
And, Dr. Umar Johnson is a guy who I like, and I like a lot of his thoughts, the way he thinks, and I like the way he delivers his thoughts. How do you feel about Dr. Umar Johnson?
I feel that, like many people, we don't know it all. Mm-hmm. Nobody has all knowledge. Mm-hmm. The more you know, the more you realize you don't know anything. Right. Try to talk about the uplifting of the black community and of black people and getting back to Africa, getting back to our roots, when you are still taking concepts from the umbrella of Christianity, Catholicism, the Bible, that you expect women to be subservient to men. Because that's in contradiction to African spirituality or Kemet spirituality or any form of African deity and belief system.
So Umar is a conscious Christian. I mean, he's
is that what he's saying? Is that his claim to
No,
fame?
that's what I'm calling him.
Oh, okay.
That's my new category I'm pulling out because
Okay.
I'm meeting a lot of kind of people who they act conscious, but then they'll still refer to the Bible, or they still hold some concepts of the Bible true to themselves and true to their lives. And I don't think that you could do that.
The thing with the Bible is, like I said, if you're going to use the stories in there or the parables in there in order to better yourself and your character and to grow, that's great. Everybody wants to be saved. But what you cannot do is use it to oppress a specific group of people, whether it be black people or black women or anything like that. That's where it becomes an issue. You also can't pick and choose which concepts you want to pull out of this so-called Bible, because a lot of the things in the Bible are in contradiction to what is actually original to who we are. If you're talking about going back to Africa and picking up those sort of beliefs and rituals that we used to perform and that they still perform over there, you can't do it. It's just hypocritical. So, and I mean, not that that's a big surprise because most people